What were the key agreements in the Treaty of Roskilde? Have you ever wondered how the balance of power shifted in Scandinavia during the 17th century? One major event that played a crucial role was the Treaty of Roskilde, signed in the year 1658. This treaty came after a significant military campaign led by King Charles X Gustaf of Sweden, which resulted in a decisive victory over Denmark. The Danish king, Frederick III, faced some tough terms as a result of this loss. The treaty included several key agreements that changed the map of Scandinavia. First, Denmark ceded the provinces of Scania, Blekinge, and Halland to Sweden. These regions, located in the southern part of the Scandinavian peninsula, were historically Danish but became Swedish after the treaty. Halland had been under Swedish control for a limited time before, but now it was made permanent. Next, Denmark also gave up the island of Bornholm to Sweden. This island is strategically important as it sits in the Baltic Sea, making it a valuable asset for trade and military purposes. The treaty also involved the transfer of Norwegian territories to Sweden. The province of Bohuslän, located on the west coast of what is now Sweden, was ceded. This change allowed Sweden better access to the North Sea and western trade routes. Additionally, the Norwegian region of Trøndelag, which included Nordmøre and Romsdal at the time, was also handed over to Sweden. But the Treaty of Roskilde was not just about land. It imposed several political and military conditions on Denmark. Denmark had to renounce all alliances that were hostile to Sweden. They were also required to prevent any warships that might threaten Sweden from passing through the straits into the Baltic Sea. This gave Sweden greater control over trade and security in the Baltic region. Moreover, the treaty restored the Duke of Holstein-Gottorp to his estates, addressing a separate dispute involving the German duchies. Denmark was also obligated to pay for the costs of Swedish occupation forces and provide troops to assist King Charles X Gustaf in his ongoing wars. These agreements had long-lasting effects on the borders and political landscape of Scandinavia. The transfer of Scania, Blekinge, Halland, and Bohuslän helped shape the modern boundaries between Sweden and Denmark. However, some territories, like Bornholm and Trøndelag, were later returned to Denmark-Norway under the Treaty of Copenhagen in the year 1660. In the grand scheme of Scandinavian history, the Treaty of Roskilde is seen as a turning point. It weakened Denmark's position and strengthened Sweden's dominance in the region. The legacy of this treaty is still visible today in the cultural and political identities of the affected provinces, which are now part of Sweden but still retain historical connections to Denmark and Norway. The practical impact of the treaty is reflected in the modern borders and the shared history of these Nordic countries.